Merry Christmas, Sorry, I don't know where that came from. I guess all this holiday spirit has really got to me. Yup, it's the holiday season. You know what that means. Another shameless top 5 cash grab affiliate link video. Seriously though, I have amassed a ton of gaming headsets this year, so I want to take a look at a few that really stand out for me for various reasons. Now, for the sake of brevity and taking it easy on your wallet, we're going to keep it to $100 and under. Ready? Let's go. Yo, I'm Brian P. You're watching BadSeed Tech, and today we're taking a look at my favorite gaming headsets at $100 or under. All right, let's just get this first pair out of the way before we ever even get into the list, because this makes everybody's top list at the end of every year ever since it came out. You literally can't make a top gaming headset list without mentioning it. That fact alone speaks volumes to their value and their performance. Guessed them yet? Yup, it's the HyperX Cloud II and Cloud Alpha, long-standing champs of the $100 mark, both solid recommendations, and the number one question I get asked all the time about these two headsets is, which one do I pick? Here's what you need to know. Skip the simulated 7.1 surround. Let's just take that off the table completely. And seeing as how they're both pretty much the same in terms of build quality, mic quality, and comfort, let's talk just about audio performance. The Cloud 2s have more extension in the low end and on the high end. They call that a V-shape EQ. This is great for being both immersive and for picking out footsteps. But when either of these bands get too saturated, these headphones can and will distort, if only for a second. The Alphas overall are tuned a little to the lower end of the spectrum. They don't get as bright as the Cloud 2s, but they also don't distort. Like ever. You can push these things hard with the headphone amp and they stand up. Really, they are very close in terms of audio performance, but if you put a gun to my head and demanded an answer for strictly gaming, Cloud 2. If you're also gonna do some bass-heavy music listening at your desk, Alpha. Cloud 2s also include some optional velour ear cups, which can change the comfort and the sound profile a little bit, but the Alphas have a detachable cable, whereas the Cloud 2s do not. And that's really all you need to know about those two. I could go on and on about which set is a rebrand of what famous clone of a different blah blah blah, but instead, we're moving on. Alright, the first pick of the day is the Steelseries Arctis 3 Bluetooth. At right about $100, this headset makes the list because it offers some really unique functionality. Not only can you use this wired to whatever device you want to, but you can also use it wirelessly via Bluetooth, and here's the kicker, at the same time. The HyperX Cloud Mix, which costs double, doesn't do this. Even SteelSeries' own wireless flagship, the Pro Wireless, which costs over 3 times as much, doesn't do this in wired mode. This makes this headset the ideal pick for the Nintendo Switch because you can be wired to the console and then connected via Bluetooth to your phone for the mobile chat app at the same time. You can talk on the phone while you're gaming, you can listen to music while you're gaming, you can just wear them around the house as Bluetooth headphones and take calls at the same time. You can have them plugged into a console controller and be using the Discord mobile app at the same time. Now, it is important to note here that what these are the $50 Arctis 3 with an additional $50 tacked on for the Bluetooth functionality. And there's really not a major difference in audio quality between using it wireless over Bluetooth or using it wired to the non-amped output of my Realtek onboard. As far as audio quality goes, this is the weakest of the bunch, but it's a strong bunch. I've decided I'm going to do this in order of audio quality all the way to the last pick. It's not poor quality audio by any means. It's just that some of the other headsets on the list have it beat in terms of bass response or high-end clarity and detail or soundstage or imaging. Soundstage basically means how big or confined the world around you feels based on how it sounds, and imaging means your ability to help pick out where specific objects are in the audio field.
The mic on the Arctis 3 strips all the bass out of your voice. It really makes your voice clear so it can cut through the mix so your teammates can hear you, and the quality is pretty similar whether it's wired, which you're hearing now, or going wireless over Bluetooth. I really like the implementation of the mic itself, the fact that it's retractable because it looks really stealth when you push it all the way into the ear cup. I'm always a fan of a retractable mic because I don't use my mic often and I have a tendency to misplace it if it's detachable.
The ear cups on this thing do rotate 90 degrees and it's really comfortable for small to medium sized heads. Large heads, particularly like tall heads, might want to look someplace else in terms of comfort. Next up is the Corsair HS70. This one makes the list because for $100 you can get full wireless gaming. They're not going to win any awards for me in terms of comfort, but they're built like an absolute tank and they sound really good for $100. Pretty decent soundstage, really good imaging. They will do 7.1 as well if that's your thing, but I actually prefer them in stereo mode. The library level in Metro 2033 Redux was insanely immersive with all the librarians growling off in the distance and being able to pinpoint where they were. awesome. These lack the overall detail of some of the sets ahead, but they have a better overall natural sounding EQ curve than the Arctis 3. There's some really decent bass on offer here as well, and there's 5 different EQ presets in the Q software that allow you to slide anywhere from like completely immersive all the way up to like scout mode or footstep mode, whatever you want to call it, where you're able to discern where your enemy is a little better. For me, these are lowest on the list in terms of comfort today, and it's kind of annoying that there's no place to store like the flash drive size dongle on board anywhere on the headset. They do look really slim and clean on the head, even by wired headset standards, but they're especially low profile for a wireless headset. There is no rotation on the ear cuffs here though, so you're not going to lay them flat on your shoulders.
The mic is a detachable, flexible boom style. It does have a big mic mute button, and the headset gives audio cues when it's muted. It's also got side tones so you can hear yourself in the cans, which I like. Unfortunately, the levels on this mic and the overall sound quality are almost the bottom of the barrel today, only getting beat out by one other headset. As far as the wired flexible boom mics go, this is definitely bottom of the list. It's got this little plug that fits in the mic hole when you're not using it. This seems like something I'd probably lose within minutes of opening the box.
Overall though, you just can't argue with the freedom of wireless. If you've never tried one for yourself, I highly recommend that you do. I for one would be willing to sacrifice just a little bit of audio quality for the sake of wireless. These are rated for a battery life of between 15 hours in between charges, and all in all, a really solid wireless headset that competes with models costing $50 more. Up next is the Cooler Master M8751. This retails for about $80. This is actually a rebrand or rework of the Takstar Pro 82 headphone, but instead of the bass slider, you now have a detachable boom mic. There's also a bigger brother, the MH752, that comes with a USB dongle with simulated 7.1, but for my money, just skip it and get the 751. Now, aside from being a rework of a fairly well-respected audio headphone, this thing is the epitome of comfort. It's easily the most comfortable on the list. I've said it before, I'll stand by it here. This is the most comfortable gaming headset I've ever had on my head. You can wear this thing for hours and hours, and it basically just disappears on your head the minute you put it on. And because it defies any kind of gamer aesthetic at all, you can wear this thing around in public without looking like a weirdo. You can legit go from the desk to out and about around town. You'll never get a second look. These are very small as well, but somehow still managed to be an over-the-ear design. Going with the rebrand on this was very smart on Cooler Master's part. These ear cups also have 90 degrees of rotation and a detachable braided cable that twists and locks into place. Now, these are almost neck and neck with the next headset pick. The only reason they lose out is because they're a little lighter in the bass department than what you might want on a consumer unit. If bass is your thing, these may be disappointing for you in that regard. They come in just below the Cloud II and the Cloud Alpha in terms of bass response, but these are a gaming headset first, and in that regard, they win. After watching my own review of these back, which you can check out right here if you haven't seen it, I was really hard on these in hindsight. After spending a lot of time doing direct A and B comparisons with these headphones versus others, I really excelled in Black Ops 4 with these, and I didn't get the audio fatigue that I normally get with something that's as bass heavy as like the Cloud Alpha. Imaging, detail, clarity, these are all on point, and like the next headset we're about to discuss, will grow with you if you decide to upgrade to something that has an amp, whether it's an internal sound card or whether you go with an external DAC amp for your audio, which you should, but that's a different video.
As for the mic, it has really strong levels, so you might get a little more hiss out of your mic input than you normally would, but it seems to retain more bass in the voice than any of the mics I tested today. Matter of fact, this one's probably my favorite of the bunch because my voice sounds more natural to me played back in this mic than any of the other ones that I've looked at so far. It is detachable as well, so when you're out and about, they still look stealth.
Now, the only thing cooler than a gaming company making or even rebranding an audio product is when an audio company decides to make a gaming product. The best example of this and the overall best all-rounder headset on this list is the Sennheiser GSP 300. The sound quality on offer here was almost my favorite of the list today. The reason why is because it has a near perfect stock EQ with solid bass, and I don't mean like overpowering, like flabby ass bass. I'm talking tight, precise bass, and there's really no trade-off for it. You get an excellent soundstage for a $100 closed-back headset, and you get great imaging. I had the most success picking out enemies in Black Ops 4 with this headset versus any other one on the list because it had such a strong sense of positional awareness, and the highs for the footsteps and the bullets were able to cut through the mix, no sweat. The thing is, music sounds really good, but I would never wear these out of the house. It just looks utilitarian. It looks like a gaming headset. If you have to wear this thing at max dimensions, it's downright ugly, and it's comfortable. Not nearly nearly as comfortable as the MH751. It does require some adjusting from time to time after you've had it on for a while, and if you have really big ears, they will basically be packed inside these ear cups. But these ear cups provide the best sense of isolation out of anyone in the mix. They're almost like gun muffs. It's also one of the few on the list today that doesn't have a detachable audio cable. Nonetheless, this is a stupid deal, a huge amount of value. You can almost always find this thing on Amazon for $80 US, and it represents a way better value proposition than its bigger brother, the GSP 600. While we're on that topic, skip any variant of this headset that has simulated 7.1 or uses USB. Just go for a 3.5mm wired version, and this thing will happily grow with you later down the line if you move into a headphone amp or a dedicated DAC amp. Matter of fact, you might want to take a look at your onboard audio. It's really tempting for convenience sake a lot of times to use a 3.5mm jack on the front of your case, but in most onboard audio, you may find that the rear jack actually has a hardware amp attached to it that will greatly improve your audio. So check it out.
This mic, unlike all the others we've seen today, is a boom arm type that's always attached to the left ear cup with a swivel that mutes the mic when it's in its up position. Like we saw with the SteelSeries mic and the MH751, it holds up really well on the onboard sound, even with all the processing options turned on. Overall audio quality here is very good, only for me getting beat out just slightly by the Cooler Master headset because it just carries a little bit more bass in the voice.
If you leave looks out of the equation, this is overall my #1 pick for best gaming headset under $100. I can't imagine a world where somebody would be upset with the audio quality or the mic quality of this headset at this price point. All right, this last pair today is something else, man. These have the most unique, insane sound I've heard, period. Gaming headset or otherwise. This is the Onemore Spearhead VR. Now, Onemore is an audio company, not a gaming company, and these things are f***ing wild, man. It's not all perfect. It's not. There's some design things here that are wrong, but the audio, dude, I have never heard or felt sub bass out of a headset before. It borders on like haptic feedback. You listen to bass heavy music, you listen to a lot of metal with double kick drums. These feel like someone put a sub on either side of your head and just punched you right in the mouth when you weren't ready. Okay, it's not that bad, but it's a crazy sensation. Out of any product I've ever reviewed, period, any product I've ever reviewed, this is the one where I wish I would have filmed my initial reaction to trying this thing out. I can't imagine the look on my face. And it's not a one-trick pony by any means. All the other audio aspects are on point here, like so on point. This is one of those things that makes you want to go back and listen to all your favorite songs all over again so you can experience them this way. All right. There's definitely going to be a full detailed review of these things coming out real soon, but let's just scratch the surface a little here. First off, it connects to the PC via mini USB cable. It does have some decent length in it, but you're definitely going to be looking at a USB port on the front of your case. It doesn't have the reach to go all the way around back. When wired up USB, it clearly has its own amp inside the cans themselves because I can only stomach this headset at about 40%. And that's pushing it. Unfortunately, console guys are going to be out on this one because without access to the software, even if you hook this thing up to the console via USB, you don't have access to the different EQs, so you're just going to get pounded with high end. But for PC, this just adds so much like intensity to the gaming experience. Black Ops 4 and Quake Champions were insanely fun. It definitely looks the gamer part as well. Premium, but still a pretty aggressive gamer look. And yep, they're RGB, but you can disable that. The ear pads are breathable and they're really comfortable. The ear cup themselves seems to be mounted to some sort of like rubber gasket. That's got to be where a lot of the vibration comes from. I'm a bit worried about this little plastic point on the hinge here. I wouldn't throw these in a bag without a hard case if it were me. Major cons? Well, for me, the biggest thing is that without using the dedicated software, having access to its frankly pretty amazing audio processing, this thing just dies when it's hooked up to like your phone or a controller. It just sounds really weak and it's all treble, so this one's desktop use only. It's got a stainless steel headband with a comfort strap underneath, but when nothing's playing in the cans, it translates a lot of noise. Like all the noise. When the comfort strap adjusts a little bit on your head, you can hear it loud in the cans. Bump the headband, you can hear it loud. You bump the cable, brush the cable, you can hear it. When any audio is playing on them at all though, that's all you hear. And the mic. The mic. First off, it's not this lightsaber thing that pulls out from the headset. That is simply there for, wait for it, looks. I am dead ass serious. There's no boom style mic here. It's just a dual mic system mounted in the cups themselves, kind of like you'd see on a Bluetooth headset. It is noise canceling, but you also get kind of a sense for how large the room is because that mic isn't right in front of your mouth. It's disappointing in performance versus anything else I've looked at today. I do love the audio output of this headset, but I would consider it a candidate for a mod mic for sure. All right, that's it. That's the list. Now, for the more budget-minded of you out there, for around $50, you can still get your hands on the SteelSeries Arctis 3, the Corsair HS50, which sounds sounds a lot like the HS70, it's just a wired version, and the HyperX Cloud Stinger. From experience, I can tell you that the Stinger sounds really good, but it does need a little bit of juice to push it, so be aware of that if you're going to be using this with onboard or particularly hooked to a console controller. I have heard that the PS4 version of the Stinger, which actually comes in cheaper, does a better job of handling volume off the controller itself. It seems to have lower impedance, but I can't verify that personally. I also have a device on the way which may completely solve the PS4 controller issue altogether and for not a lot of money. For transparency, the Cooler Master headset, the GSP 300, and the Onemore Spearhead were all sent out for review samples. The rest of everything we talked about in the video today, I did purchase at retail. This doesn't affect my review process at all, but I like to be upfront. You'll find affiliate links to everything we talked about today in the description below. If you have any questions about anything I talked about here today, please be sure and leave me a comment. I'll do my best to answer those for you. Happy holidays, everybody, and thanks for an awesome year here on the channel. And that's it for this time. I'm Brian P. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that sub button, and until next time, stay up.